Hey, it's me again. For those of you that are new to the channel, my name's RJ. I haven't done many videos, actually, but I'm still kind of in the phase of trying to figure out what it is that I really want to do on here, and I think I just kind of want to do a little bit of everything. I just want to talk about whatever comes to mind, show you stuff that I've tried or whatever pops up in my daily life. One of the things that I'm really interested in talking to you about is rheumatoid arthritis. And the reason that I bring that up is because it's been kind of a struggle for me, and I know it's a struggle for a lot of people. But if this can help anyone, then great. If not, then I guess I'm sorry this wasn't informative enough. I'm gonna try to be. I guess this all started a long time ago, and I had a lot of pain. Well, at first I would notice when I would wake up in the mornings that my hands would be really stiff. They would be really tight. It'd be hard to move them. I couldn't grip anything very well at all. I would take my wedding ring off. As you notice, I'm not wearing it right now because my hands are swollen, but and I hurt myself too. I fell, I hurt my hand, all these fingers. This one ripped half this nail off. It's been a mess, but and then on top of the arthritis, it hasn't been fun. And for all of you that know what rheumatoid arthritis is, it's progressive and it gets worse, and so doing stuff like this probably isn't going to help. Although it was an accident, probably not going to help. Anyways, I thought that swollen fingers, because I would take my ring off to put lotion on my hands in the mornings after washing my hands and stuff, and my ring would always be a lot tighter, sometimes so tight that it would hurt. My joints always felt stiff, and this is before they got super painful. It was just achy, and I thought that was normal. I've lived that for so long. It wasn't just like I woke up one day and boom, all of a sudden, hey, something's different. They feel achy and stiff and tight, and I have no dexterity or grip or any of that. It was just slowly progressive, one thing, and then for a while, and then another thing. Is like little subtle changes, and I didn't really notice it until I just thought it was normal. But I would get, I guess, flare-ups, because they say that it kind of like cancer, you're either in remission or you're in a flare-up. And during those flare-ups, which I didn't know that's what they were at the time, I would get severe pain, and it wouldn't just be in my hands. I would get it in my forearms, in my elbows, my shoulder, my spine, my hips. Oh my goodness, my hips. That didn't come until after I had kids. I have 4 kids, and after the first one, that's when I started getting it in my hips too, and I just attributed that to, pregnancy and childbearing and things of that nature. Again, thought it was normal. But I would get it really bad in my back, my knees, my feet. Oh, my feet were so horrible. They still are. The bad news, they still are. Because it doesn't get better. But I didn't know what it was, and there were times where things would swell up extremely bad and be so extremely painful I couldn't move them. Like my wrists, I couldn't move my hands, and I would go to the emergency room because I would ice it and I would elevate it, and I would I would try Epsom salt, and I would wrap it, and I would put braces on it, and I would try heating it, and I would do the icy hot, the Bengay, and the ibuprofen, and the Aleve, and nothing would help. And I tried home remedies. I didn't know what it was. I was just trying to treat symptoms of swelling, stiffness, pain, severe pain, like severe pain. That's also because, back up for a second, I also have osteoarthritis, so rheumatoid arthritis, osteoarthritis, and bilateral parathesis, which is a type of nerve damage that's resulting from the rheumatoid arthritis. And so when I would go into the emergency room as kind of a last resort, because when everything was going fine and I would go to the doctor, I mean, I would usually go for my usual checkups, stuff like that, but nobody ever found anything. Like, ooh, just got hit by a bug. Anyways, when I would go into the doctor, it would be for something else, and kind of out of sight, out of mind kind of thing. Or if I would bring it up, well, there was nothing going on, no flare-up at the time, so they couldn't figure out what was going on. And when I would go into the emergency room, again, they would tell me that they can't find anything wrong, and would send me home with some pain pills, which I didn't want to take, even though I was in pain. I didn't want to take it. I don't like feeling like I'm not in control of my own senses and my body, and a lot of pain pills make me feel really sick. So I didn't like that feeling. If it hurt so bad I couldn't function, then I feel like I wouldn't have any choice, because I would have to choose between severe pain and not being able to get up and move, and getting up and taking care of my children, even though I'm like running to the bathroom to get sick. Well, we all know as a parent, you don't have a choice of not being able to get up and take care of your kids. So sometimes I would take them, last resort. But after doing this for so long, and we're talking years, my oldest is 19 now, and these pains and emergency room trips started back when he was 1.5 or so, somewhere between 1 and 2. There was other stuff before then, but I didn't know that it was the same thing. I didn't know that it was all different types of arthritis. And it just really got to a point, and this sounds so awful, and I felt so awful. I mean, I felt like there was something wrong with me psychologically, like maybe I was a hypochondriac or something, because this has been going on for years, off and on for years, and nobody ever finds anything wrong, ever. So I'm starting to think, okay, maybe this has got to be in my head. Maybe there's something wrong with my head. Maybe I should be going to see a psychologist. And I was getting really down on myself and really, really depressed over the fact that I couldn't figure out whether it was real or not. I mean, it certainly felt real. It was horrible. A lot of times it still is. One time I was at work, and this was almost 3 years ago now. Not quite. Actually, more like a little over 2 years, because it was in the beginning of 2017, and we're now in the middle of 2019, so almost almost 2.5 years. And just out of nowhere, I started getting that horrible, horrible pain again. I'm sorry about the lighting. It's natural lighting out here, but this is a quiet area, and just a lot easier to be able to talk, especially with my kiddos running around. My oldest may be 19, but I also have a about to be 16-year-old and a 12-year-old and a 10-year-old, so sometimes it gets a little hectic. But anyways, so I was at work, and my right wrist, it felt like I was being stabbed from inside my wrist. Not like stabbed out here down into my wrist, but it felt like the stabbing was starting like in the center of my wrist and going down my arm towards my elbow, repeatedly for days. And I couldn't function. I couldn't move my wrist. I couldn't move my fingers because all of it just, when I would do that, the stabbing, it always felt like stabbing. But then when I would try to move, it would feel like not only was I being stabbed, but someone was trying to rip the inside pieces of my arm, my bones, my tendons, everything, and just rip it out. And again, I'm just sitting here depressed thinking, is this in my head? Is this in my head? Because every time I go in, I'm always told there's nothing wrong. And then my hand started swelling. And for those of you who have kids, you'll get this. You know, when you go to a doctor's office and you take a little kid with you, and if, oh, forbid, you forget to bring something to help occupy their attention while you're discussing with the adults about medical things, they get really antsy, and you will look for anything you can to help hold their attention, to keep them calm, so you can do as a parent what you need to do. And one of the things that we sometimes do is we'll grab a doctor's glove, even though they don't like it. They have to pay for that. It comes out of company cost. You'll grab one. Maybe you'll blow it up so it looks like a little balloon. Maybe draw something on it so it looks like, some made-up animal or something, and because it makes them happy, and then they're not cranky, or antsy, or then they can be occupied so you can do what you need to do. But picture that glove blown up like a balloon. Obviously not super huge, but they get pretty good size. That's what my hand and arm looked like. And the person that I was working with told me that I really needed to see someone. Which kind of helped me to go, okay, obviously this is, sorry about the lighting again, obviously this is not just in my head, because if it was just in my head, without me saying something, other people wouldn't be noticing it. But I still didn't really want to go. And I had gone home, and my husband had tried to talk me into going, and in the middle of the night, it got to a point where it just felt like my body, my arm was on fire from the inside, and it was moving up further. It wasn't just my hand and my forearm. Now it was starting to move up further, and I just couldn't take it anymore. My job requires me to be able to type. It requires me to be able to type and write a lot. I do a lot of research on the computer. I do a lot of writing, going over other people's papers. I'm an instructor, and for adults, and it just requires me to be able to do things with my hands, to have dexterity and do repetitive motion with them. So I know that I can't really take the time off work, so I'm like, okay, fine, let's just go. And quite frankly, I got tired of people telling me that I just needed to go. On the other hand, it did feel good to realize that obviously this cannot be just in my head. There's not something wrong with my brain, because I'm not the only one noticing it, and it's not just one other person. It's like a lot of people. And I went in, and the emergency room doctor didn't even do any tests, and he just told me, he asked me some questions, I answered them, and he goes, you have rheumatoid arthritis, you need to go see your doctor, and you need to have your doctor refer you to a specialist. I was really skeptical. First of all, I didn't know what the heck rheumatoid arthritis was. he didn't run any tests. That doctor didn't run any tests. And I was thinking, okay, obviously I've been here so many times and they've never figured anything out. He's just trying to get rid of me because he thinks he's not going to be able to figure anything out. This is really what I was thinking. I know, sounds weird. But it was. That's what I was feeling, and I was really frustrated. But I went to my doctor anyways, and they did a test for these cells in my blood, which is called rheumatoid factor. And the higher it is, the worse your flare-up is. And when it's normal, it's not because it's actually normal or because you're okay. It's just because you're kind of in a remission state, like a little pause between the ocean waves, so to speak. And I ended up going and seeing a specialist, and they did extensive testing. And they do a lot of testing every single time I go in. They have to because of all the different medications that they put me on, which I'm going to talk about here real soon, because this is, I feel, a very important piece of this. But because of all these different medications that can cause this, and this medication can cause that, they have to check your blood, they have to check your bone density, they have to check all these different things all the time, every time you come in. Sometimes you don't even go in for a regular appointment, just in between appointments you're going in for tests. And as it turns out, yes, I definitely do have rheumatoid arthritis, and I also have osteoarthritis, and I also have bilateral parathesis, like all these things that popped up. And it was kind of like, at that moment, hearing it validated that there really was actually something wrong. That is, I am so sorry about the lighting, but that there really is actually something wrong, and it's not just in my head. Like, I just broke down crying, because at that point in time, it was like this huge sense of relief. Like, it is not just in my head. I'm not some person who doesn't know my own body and is making up all these different pains. And like, just to think that you could really feel so much pain and the possibility of it not being real is extremely scary. So I felt this huge sense of relief, like this huge weight has been taken off my shoulders. Like, I have not been imagining this for years and years and years. Little did I realize at that point in time that it was not a blessing. It felt like a blessing to finally have an answer. And I guess in some senses it is, but that's where the real battle was beginning. Rheumatoid arthritis is a progressive disease. It is like an autoimmune problem. See, I have Rh negative blood. And, okay, before I go into that, doctors don't really know what causes rheumatoid arthritis. They can't really say it's genetic. They can't really say it's not genetic. Genetics could be related to it, but it could also be diet or exercise or lifestyle or things that you come into contact with out in your environment. It could be all those things combined. It could be none of those things. They don't really know. So a lot of it is trial and error and guesswork. And there's things that work for some people and don't work for others. A lot of things. And there is no real rhyme or reason to why this works for this person but not that person, because a lot of times they don't even know why this item works. It works for this person, but we don't know why it works. It just does. So we're going to go with it. Sorry, my nose is a little runny because I almost started to cry there. For whatever reason, anytime I feel like I'm going to cry, first thing that happens, my nose starts running. And all my tissues are inside. I know, it's gross. So the first thing that they want to do is put me on this steroid. And I actually have some notes here in this handy dandy little notebook, paper made from stone. This is actually really cool, but I will talk about this some other time, even though it's really cool. Just because that's not what this is about. So they wanted to put me on a steroid right away, just to try and get some of the inflammation down, so they could get a better judge of how much damage has been done to my joints and my bones and cartilage and things of that nature that are going to affect my mobility, and what they think I should take, or what dosage they think I should take of what different medications, in order to try and slow down this disease. Now, that's another thing that's really important, is these medications do not stop the progression. They don't. It is going to get worse. Period. That's the bottom line. They don't stop it. They slow it down. They can. It's not a definite that they will. They can slow it down. But they will not stop it. You know, at some point in time, brushing your teeth, you're going to lose that ability. Being able to brush your own hair, out the window. All these little things that are normal, natural things that you do yourself that you don't realize are important because you take them for granted, because it's just little things that you do every day. Is stuff that you're going to start to lose. You know, you're going to go to squeeze that tube of toothpaste to get a little toothpaste onto your toothbrush, and all of a sudden you're not going to be able to grab it with one hand and squeeze it. You're going to have to set the toothbrush down, and you're going to have to use two hands, because you're not going to have the dexterity in your fingers to close them and apply pressure. And it gets, there's a whole list of things. It gets way worse. It's just the little beginning things. And some days will be better than others, and some days will be way worse than others. So they started me off on a steroid called prednisone, and I'm trying to find I did a lot of research before taking any of these medications. Like, I went to the doctor so many times, even more than what's normally called for, because I'm like, well, I don't know. Let me go do some research. You know, you can tell me what you're going to tell me, but I'm not going to settle for just that. I want to go find out more. I'm going to go to the library. I'm going to look online. I'm going to talk to other doctors. I'm going to, whatever I need to do, because I don't want to just jump into anything not knowing. I've spent so much time not knowing what's going on with my body. I'm not going to just put myself in a position of doing something not knowing what it's going to cause, you know, good or bad to my body. So prednisone is a corticosteroid. It's an anti-inflammatory, and it is also immunosuppressive. Now, the reason I bring up immunosuppressive is because I have Rh negative blood, and I don't know if this causes, well, I'm pretty sure it does cause, after all the research I've done, that it is a huge cause to the factor of me having RA and osteo and the paralateral bithesis. Paralateral bithesis. I'm saying that wrong now. Bilateral parathesis. There we go. Couldn't get the words out appropriately. Was doing it backwards. RA is an autoimmune issue, and basically your body attacks itself. You have an overactive immune system, something like that, and when your body doesn't have something to attack, it just goes ahead and attacks itself. Well, I have Rh negative blood, and the negative factor in my blood contributes to me having an overactive immune system. You would think overactive immune system, awesome, because guess what? You're not going to get sick. Wrong. Wrong, wrong, wrong. Because if you're not sick, your body will do whatever it can to make you sick so it can have something to fight. So you will spend a lot of time being sick. Little colds here and there, anything. Every time you get over something, which I never even knew. Like, I knew that I was constantly having little colds and things of this nature, feeling run down, fatigued. it's all because of this one autoimmune thing, which you can't really fix. The only way to treat it, which doesn't actually fix it, is to wipe out your immune system, which also is not good. Not a good option either way. So, they start off with the steroid, which helps kind of confuse the cells, so they can't really go around attacking anything. Well, they can, because it's not a huge immunosuppressive. It's more of an anti-inflammatory, so it helps bring down the swelling. When the swelling comes down, some of the pain eases, some of the tightness and stiffness eases, some of the feeling like you're on fire lightens up, or cools down, I guess I should say. It doesn't take care of everything. This is just the starting thing. They don't want to keep you on this long term. They can if they need to, because it does provide fairly immediate results. But it's a bad drug, and here's why. Some of the things that prednisone is used for, and it's used for a lot of things, so this is just some of the main things, is obviously RA, rheumatoid arthritis, blood disorders, breathing problems, allergy problems, skin disease, cancer, eye problems, and immune system disorders. Okay, sounds like a good thing. It could take anywhere from a couple of hours to 4 days to start working appropriately. A lot of times you'll see a fairly immediate response, especially if it's used in maybe like an allergy. You're having a severe allergy to something, they give you steroids right away. Works better than Benadryl or something like that. Boom, you're doing lots better. You take it for a few days and you're good. A lot of times, a few days, that's like severe cases. A lot of times, just that one dose and you're good. But when you're working with other things besides allergies, sometimes it can take a little bit longer. Instead of an immediate response within hours, sometimes you're going to have to wait a couple of days. It does help. It does help. You do get a response. The problem is side effects. Now let's go into this. And I go into this because I had almost all of these. You can grow hair in weird places. Like as a female, you might start growing hair on your chin, out of your ears, on your chest, just places you really don't want to have hair. I am fortunate, I guess, maybe if you want to call it that, because I didn't have that issue. But I don't really consider myself fortunate, just because there were so many other things, like muscle pain and cramps. I did not notice those in the first week, but by week 2, I started having both. I would cramp. Have you ever had a Charlie horse where we'll say your calf muscle just squeezes up real tight and it won't stop for 5 minutes, and your whole leg, it squeezes so tight you can see everything in your leg just shift, and it hurts so bad, and you're like pounding on it and rubbing it and pushing stuff into it and trying to stretch it, anything you can to just get it to loosen up, because it's so painful. Not nearly as painful as the RA, but it is painful. I had a lot of those, and not just in my calves, definitely in my calves, but in my stomach, in my back, in my shoulders, in my arms. Irregular heartbeat. There were times where I thought I was going to have a heart attack. I really did. And now I don't know anything about the heart, but just the way, I mean, I know a little bit because I also have a heart murmur, which probably contributed to this. But it was just going and going and going, and I felt like I couldn't catch my breath, and everything was squeezing, and it's hot and sweaty, and I really thought I didn't have pain with it. I just couldn't relax enough. I mean, even when I was relaxed when it started, and I just, like, okay, if I just relax, I just calm down, it'll slow down, but it wouldn't. Very scary. Weakness. I felt weak all the time, could barely hold my own body weight. Memory impairment. I was forgetting things left and right. This is when I found out that the sticky notes are my best friend, because if I don't have a sticky note and I don't write it down, I will forget, and that hasn't gotten any better. Swelling of hands, ankles, feet. We're taking it to decrease the swelling, and it can still cause swelling, and I don't know why this thing is. There we go. I'm like, where's the focus? I did not have a whole lot of abnormal swelling, and I say that loosely because swelling was already a part of my normal. Weird swelling, remember the doctor's glove blowing that up thing that I was telling you about? On a regular basis, that was normal. It just happened. Maybe not to that extreme. That was a pretty extreme case when I was talking about the doctor's glove, but it happened a lot. Swelling was a part of my everyday life, so I didn't really notice a whole lot more than usual. Unusual weight gain. I have been extremely small my entire life, underweight my entire life. In fact, after I had my kids, my mom threatened to try and get me forced into a hospital because I was so underweight. She thought I was either anorexic or bulimic or on some kind of drugs or something. I was not. I don't do drugs. I don't make myself throw up. I love to eat. That's just the way my body is built. And for the first time in my life, ever, people started saying that I look healthy. And I know that sounds weird, because you're like, oh, you look healthy, that's a good thing. And it is. But I started going past that. Like, that weight gain was not normal for me. And for other people that I know that have been on this, the weight gain has been extremely substantial. We're talking 50, 60 pounds in a matter of 7 months or so. And you have a tendency to retain water more, a lot more water. And it doesn't just go away. It just doesn't. They say that it should absorb back into your body, but it really doesn't, because you just keep retaining more and you keep getting larger at a fairly fast pace. That doesn't happen with everyone, but everyone that I know of, that I personally know of, that has been on this for any reason, not just RA, but it was prescribed to them for a different reason, there's been substantial weight gain. Let's see. It can cause fevers, persistent sore throat, and infection. I didn't have any of that from this. I did have a lot of things, but not this. Vision problems. I got really afraid to drive at one point, because I couldn't see. I mean, you could have mosquito, yuck. Big letters, something that normally I could see from, across the street on a neighbor's house across the street, and I could read it, and all of a sudden you get that same size of letter about 2 feet away from me, and I I can't see it. I can't read it. I mean, I can see it. I can see that it's there, but it's so blurry. I couldn't tell you what it is. And I had to drive like this, and that was really scary for me. To the point where I didn't want to do it. I just didn't, because it wasn't just scary at the thought of I'm going to get in an accident, which I was so sure I was going to get in an accident. I was scared. But I was also worried that not only was I going to get in an accident and hurt myself and not be able to take care of my kids, but I was worried that I was going to get in an accident and hurt someone else, or maybe someone else's kids, or someone else, and they would have kids that they couldn't take care of, or, you know, it's just, and it's not because I'm overly cautious, which I tend to be sometimes, but it's not because I'm overly cautious that I'm always worrying about everything. I don't typically drive down the road and go, oh, I'm scared, we could get in an accident, I need to be hyper aware. You know, I try to be fairly, well, not fairly, I definitely try to be aware of my surroundings and what's going on and other drivers and my own driving, but not to the point where I'm going down the road and I'm crying because I can't see the street signs and I can't see the lines on the road very well that's supposed to separate the lanes, and I had to stop driving for a while because of it. I did. And it wasn't just because of that one either, but we'll get to the other ones. I'm not that far yet. Okay, so, vomiting that looks like coffee grounds. Now, it did make me vomit. It did make me nauseous, and it did make me vomit. Nothing that looked like coffee grounds, but I felt sick a lot. But there are other medications that they put me on that have some of the same side effects, which I'll get to when I get to those medications, but I don't know how much of the nausea and vomiting was from this one or the other ones or the combination, but it was just bad. It was bad. Well, no, I'll get to that when I get to the other medications. Okay, bone weakness. Well, this is kind of hard to describe. I'm going to give it a try, but when you go and you pick something up, you walk over to the fridge, you grab something out of the fridge with both your hands, and you go to put it on the counter because you're getting ready to make this for dinner or something. Or even you grab a jar of pickles, or, you know, just something that has a little bit of weight to it, but not weight, not heavy, just something you wouldn't normally notice as having weight to it, because it's light enough that normally it's, you know, 2 pounds, a pound. And usually you don't notice it. You're just grabbing whatever. But now you go to grab it, and when you lift it up, it feels so weak. And I don't mean at the ends of the bones, but like in the middle of the bone, you know, or in the middle of these bones right here, rather than at the end. It just feels weak, like, oh, if I don't set that down, that might break. I mean, that description does not adequately do it justice, but that's like the best way I can think of to describe it, because it's such a weird feeling. It's like weak, but not what you would think of as weak, like with your muscles, because with your muscles you go to pick something up and it's like, oh, that's heavy. But with your bones, it's like, oh, it's not really heavy, I can do it, but oh man, there's something, like my bone feels like it's gonna break, only without the severe pain of breaking a bone, which I'm sure if it did break, and it's entirely possible that it could, that would probably hurt pretty bad. Oh my goodness, it's starting to get dark out here. I'm hoping I can get through least a little bit more of this. Apparently I talk too much, but it's just, this is really important to me. And I know this is probably really important to some of you too, and if you can learn something from my experiences, then, you know, at least I'm hoping to somebody. Or maybe I'm just crazy. I don't know. If you think so, or you think not, you can always comment. But I think I'm going to make this like a part 1, because I think I have too much to say to get it all in one. Or at least before it gets dark, before I go back into the household of crazy chaos with kids. I don't know. Fun, sometimes very fun chaos, but chaos just the same, it seems like. Okay, so let me at least try to get through this one. Okay, I never had this problem with the prednisone. I definitely had this problem, but not with the prednisone. This is insomnia, and prednisone can cause sleeping issues, sleeping problems, insomnia. It can also cause mood swings between like anger and depression, and I did start to get a little bit irritable, a lot less patience than normal, and a lot sadder, but I didn't notice that right away. I mean, like, it took some time, and I don't think it was from the prednisone. Now, it could have been, but I think some of the other medications had, I mean, maybe it was the other medications, maybe it was prednisone and the other medications combined, I don't know, kind of like the vomiting. Could be one, could be the other, could be both. Could be some combination of, because they had me on a lot. I mean, they put me on like hydroxychloroquine and prednisone and naproxen, which is basically Aleve, but that's what I could take for pain outside of all this other stuff they gave me. And then of course some Oxycontin, which I hated. I just stuck with the Aleve because that stuff is bad. It's just bad. Ugh. But a lot of this stuff is bad. And then, you know, like gabapentin, of course, folic acid, which, you know, is a good thing. All kinds of methotrexate, sulfasalazine, just all kinds of stuff. So, and apparently you need a combination of like all these things. And I will talk to you more about all of this stuff in another video. I might move inside and then continue, depending on how chaotic it is in there or how loud, or I'll just make this a part 1 and do some more on another day when I have time later this week. I don't know if I'll have time. I might have time tomorrow. We'll see. There are other side effects that go along with the prednisone, but those are just kind of the big ones. Oh, here's another really big one. And this was a big issue for me, which, I mean, doing much better now, but hair loss. I will talk more about the hair loss when I get into some of the other medications, though, because I think some of the other medications had a much bigger whammy on me in regards to that area. So, but now that it's getting super dark, I mean, it doesn't seem like it yet, but that's only because the only bit of light there is right back here. Everywhere else is darker. So, alright, well, this will be part 1. Stay tuned for part 2, which will be coming up really soon. Alright, feel free to please subscribe, write down, I think it's, well, I'm facing the camera, so I don't know which side it's on, but it's down here somewhere. Hit the bell for notifications. You know what, subscribe on your left. So I think that'd be down over here. And the bell's on your left for notifications, and feel free to comment. Please leave comments if this helps at all. Obviously part 1 probably not so much, because I haven't really got into the weight of everything yet, but yeah, if you have questions on anything ever that I post on here, please feel free to ask. I will do my best to answer. I'm not a doctor, and some of my posts will have nothing to do with issues like this, and by all means, I'm not a professional in most of these areas, so what I am a professional in is completely different than this, and maybe I'll post something about that at some point in time, but still, if I can answer, I will. If I can't, I'll try to find someone who can. I'll do my best. So, until later this week, alright, bye-bye.